Okay, so the next part of this lesson concerns converting units between systems. So this would be converting between our imperial system, feet, inches, miles, to things like centimeters, kilometers, meters. So we're going to convert, in this example, it says the CN Tower in Toronto, Canada is about 1,815 feet tall. How many meters tall is the tower? So use that factor that 1 meter is about 3.28 feet. So it's just like the problems we were doing before. We still set up our ratio, 1,815 feet. Now to set up my conversion factor, I'm going to put feet on the bottom, so I'm going to use this ratio and say 3.28 feet fit into 1 meter. And I put feet on the bottom because those units divide out. So essentially, this becomes 1,815 meters divided by 3.28. And I'm going to grab my calculator quick to do that math. So I'm going to do 1,815 divided by 3.28. And I get 553. And let's just round to the nearest tenth, so 1 decimal place. It's 0.35. So to round up 0.35, I would round that up to 0.4. And like I said, that's in meters. So that conversion, it's important to know how to set up your conversion factor. So I put feet on the bottom because that is the unit I want to divide out to convert to meters. So what I would like you to do, same thing for a new building, but it's 1450. So I want you to pause the video, try this example, and then check your answer with me. Okay, so for this example, did the same exact math, just with different numbers, converted feet to meters. So I put, in my conversion factor, I put meters on the top, feet on the bottom. And then I just took 1450 divided by 3.28, rounded to the nearest tenth. I got 442.1 meters. So next, exchanging currency. This is a good skill if you ever plan on traveling to different countries. So exchange rates can change from day to day. On a particular day, the exchange rate for dollars to euros is that $1 is 0.63 euros. So it's saying how many euros could you get for $325 on the day. So I'm going to start with my $325, and then my conversion factor, I'm going to put $1 on the bottom, and I'm going to put 0.63 euros on the top. The reason I do that, again, so that these dollars, the factor of dollars, divide out. And then I do 325 times 0.63, and then I think about dividing it by 1, which isn't going to change anything, but I'm still going to write that out. 204.75 euro divided by 1. I know it doesn't change anything, but I want to show that division. So when you think about this problem, it tells you a euro is worth actually more than $1, because $325 only gets you 204.75 euro. So that's a good skill to have if you ever travel, so you know how to convert between units, literal units of money. So the last example I want to show you is converting rates. So with converting rates, you are going to be converting 2 units at the same time, so it's important to keep track of things. So I am going to start this one. It says, a student ran the 50-yard dash in 5.8 seconds. At what speed did the student run in miles per hour? So I'm going to write my rate as a ratio, okay, comparing yards to seconds. And I'm actually converting 2 things here. I'm converting yards to miles, and then seconds to hours. So the first one I'm going to take care of. I'm going to write this in kind of a long list, so it's important that you follow along with this because this gets tricky if you're not sure what's going on. So my first conversion factor. Off the top of my head, I don't know how many yards are in a mile. So that's something I would give you. I would say there are 1 mile is 1,760 yards. Okay, I'll give you that. So I will put the 1,760 yards on the bottom and 1 mile on the top. And then I know that those units of yards divide out. So that's good. I got one of the units I wanted to find. Next, I'm going to convert seconds to hours, okay? And you could do this a couple different ways, but if I think about seconds to hours, there's 60 seconds in a minute and 60 minutes in an hour. So that's 60 times 60, which would be, there would be 3,600 seconds in 1 hour. And again, the reason I put seconds on the top is so that the second units, those divide out. So I basically canceled out the units I didn't want to get the units I do want. So to finish this out, I'm going to multiply all the top numbers by each other. 50 times 1 times 3,600, which is 180,000. 180,000 divided by 5.8 times 1760 times 1, which is 10,208. So then my final set of work here is to divide these two units, or divide these two values. So for this, I'm going to round again to the nearest tenth. This is about 17.6 miles per hour. Miles were left on the top, hours were left on the bottom. So 17.6 miles per hour. So you've got to follow your train of thought and then just think about multiplying and then dividing at the end. So again, I'd like you to try this last example on your own and then check your answer with me when you are ready. Okay, so to have finished explaining this one, a couple things. I guess it's not super common knowledge that there's 5,280 feet in 1 mile, so I guess I could have given you that at the start. But converting that, the main thing I want you to know is you realize you are converting feet to miles and seconds to hours. So I'm doing 2 conversions in one here. So the first thing I handle is my conversion factor for miles, to get miles. 5,280 feet are in 1 mile. I put the units for feet on the bottom so that the units for feet divide out. Then I convert seconds to hours. I put the units for seconds on the top, hours on the bottom, so the seconds divide out. So that part of it is just knowing there's 3,600 seconds in 1 hour. So I multiply all the top numbers by each other to get my numerator, the top. I multiply all my bottom numbers together to get the denominator, the bottom. I take those 2 numbers in the end and I divide them to get ran about 22 miles per hour, which is pretty fast. It's pretty fast. So now I would say you're ready for the practice. There's going to be some units. If you need to look up the units, that's fine. I just, you know that you can check that, okay? If you're not sure, just ask, especially on quizzes and tests, because there's some units I expect you to know. I expect you to know 60 seconds in a minute. I expect you to know 12 inches in a foot, stuff like that. So just keep that in mind as you move forward and go through the practice. So make sure you ask questions. Make sure you are ready for the checkpoint before you start it.